Okay, go. All right, everyone. Welcome to Growth Talk episode number. I think it's number five. I want to say it's not more. It's not more than five though. It's wait. It could be more than. Anyway, we'll say five, and hopefully I'm right. Maybe I'll rename all the other videos if it's not five, so I wouldn't be wrong. But yeah, welcome guys. Today we have Binyamin. Binyamin is an ISTP, and in OP language he is MFTISE. Consume, play, blast, sleep. So welcome Binyamin. Welcome to the
Hey,
channel.
yeah, thanks for having me on. That was pretty good TI there in the beginning.
You
Yeah,
saw it working really.
yeah,
I didn't realize that we do that, right? Like you
yeah,
like correct yourself as you're talking, and it's like a TI thing. I thought everyone did that, but really, when I don't see other people doing that, it's like a weird thing that we do.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a quirk. So yeah, welcome to the show. So yeah, we did a video on your channel or a couple videos on your channel.
yeah.
Now the tables have turned. Now I'm
Have
interviewing.
they?
How is it? How is it when you have to do interviews? Is it a different vibe for you? Do you enjoy it just the same, or yeah? What's your
I
opinion?
mean, it's like it's the responsibility to put the show on, you know? You've got to make
Okay.
sure things run smoothly and yeah, make sure the guests are I don't know, talkative. You
Oh
got to
yeah,
keep the air like right now I could just shut up and put all the pressure back on you just by me
yeah,
keeping
and
my mouth
that's
shut.
yeah. I mean, I pretty much did the same in our interview. I just answered your question, and then okay, now you have another question.
Yeah.
Which I really, yeah, I realize I do that on most interviews. I just kind of just answer the. Well, it's like an ST thing, right? You just
Yeah.
they ask you a question, you just answer it. You don't think about okay, maybe I should continue the conversation. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Some people do that, like some blast last or play last will do that too.
Ah, okay, yeah, I,
Yeah.
I could see how that would be related as well. So yeah, let's go over your type in the beginning. So people who are not familiar with an ISTP, how would you describe one? If you're looking for one in the wild, what things would jump out to you? Like, oh, this dude's an ISTP because of
Well,
this,
I mean,
because of this.
if they're not familiar, they're on the wrong channel, right? Like
Yeah, that's true. But you never know. They might be.
yeah, that's true. I mean, I
It's a
think
hard question to answer.
typing, yeah, typing people is hard anyways. Like, how would
Yeah.
you catch any of us in the wild?
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I. The other thing is like, as an IP, we don't really know, and we're not really aware of how we come off. We don't really even care
That's also a
as
good point.
much.
Yeah.
Like, we're worried and stressed out about it, but we have no idea. Like,
Mhm.
because we're not asking for that feedback. We're not looking for that tribe feedback. How do I come off? How did
Hey, there's one there you go. That's the first facet of the
yeah.
the
Right? Yeah,
ISTP. We don't know how we come off, even though we
yeah.
it seems like we're super cool sometimes. Well, not all of us, but in the inside, we're ignorant in a lot of
I
ways.
like that. Well, not all of us. Like that's the TI again coming out.
It's like
It's
no, not all
yeah.
of us. I don't want to label you
Like
guys.
you make like a bold statement, and it's like okay, I got to correct that. It's not
Yeah, that was
100%
too
all the
bold.
time.
Let
Yeah,
me step back a
yeah,
minute. That's how it goes. So like, okay, since we can't really talk about it externally so easily, internally, what's going on as an ISTP that you feel like differs maybe from other types?
I mean, I'm always checking, always anything that anyone says, always trying to check it and verify it and make sure
Mhm.
it's right and it's true and it's like constantly keeping your mouth shut, not correcting people.
Oh, that's
Um,
tough. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, you get that too.
Oh yeah, yeah. Did you ever feel like you were a contrarian when you were younger? Like in anything anyone said, you'd always have like the devil's advocate thing, or like always like kind of a rebuttal to what they
Well,
said, even
because
though
like you just do that you just showed how you do that to yourself. It's like you said something, and it's
Mhm.
like, well, that's not always true. I can correct myself. So like you're correcting yourself. It's like, well, this guy didn't correct himself. I'll do it for him. I'm gonna help him out by.
So you've had to learn to kind of dial that down a bit.
Oh, of course,
It
yeah,
sounds like, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I know the struggle. Yeah, yeah. It's like
yeah.
you get in trouble for that, and it tends to piss people off, and which makes sense because I get pissed off too. People's constantly like doing the same thing to me, even I get triggered by that.
Yeah.
So it's that's what we do. So like okay. So we kind of got a definition, but I think that's good. Like you said, most people that watch this channel probably familiar with what an ISTP is by now. If you guys aren't, you've been watching me, assuming I'm one of those. So whatever I do, that's what a lot of us also do. So there you go. Okay. Okay, so let's get into the past. Let's get into little Benjamin. a Binyamin or a Binyamin or a Binyamin. There's so many ways
I
to say
really
the
don't
name
care.
that I've heard from people. I don't even know which one it is.
Just call me dude with a beard. I'm good.
Dude with a beard.
There we go.
So, so what was it like back when you were a kid and maybe your other functions weren't developed so much? What was it like for you from your perspective?
I mean, like autopilot is hard to, it's hard. You think everyone's like you think everyone's the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You're on autopilot and you're projecting that everyone else is on autopilot the same way that you are, sort of thing. Takes a while to realize that not everyone's the same.
Yeah. I
So
think every
yeah,
type struggles with that, right? Everyone
yeah,
projects their.
every single type is going to go through the same
Yep.
thing. And so yeah, like I think I really stood out as well that, um, I wasn't a stupid kid,
Yeah.
and I wasn't shy about letting people know that I was smarter than them.
Yeah.
And that's not how you make friends. I thought that's how you make friends. It's like, oh yeah, I'll just prove to them that I'm smarter than them, and then they'll like me. No.
Seems sound logic to me.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't see a
It
problem
doesn't
with
work.
that.
No. Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of, if you're asking for the general vibe, like the
Mhm.
NF vibe, that's kind of, I think, what I was putting out there. And you get a lot of tidal waves if that's the way you behave.
So what were those like?
So I mean, I had to put it into some kind of TI framework as well.
Mhm.
Like, why is this happening? Let's block bang and figure out what's this tidal wave that I keep getting, and
Sure.
why isn't it happening to other people? Because like, you could see it. You could see that it's happening to you and not other people. Why am I getting tribe tidal waves? What is this? And so what I boiled it down to was like this, you know, evolutionary thing where, everyone, first of all, like in primates, there's like always this alpha male in lions and birds and almost every animal that has two sexes. There's like this competitive nature towards reproduction.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was thinking, okay, so what is this like in humans? And it's like, okay, so if there is this alpha male, that means it has to be like a collective. Everyone wants to be in that position. Everyone wants to be this alpha male, and then we all have to sort of fight to get to that point. Otherwise, there would be none. Like if there was no desire built into us, it wouldn't exist. So we all have to simultaneously have it and fight for it in order to get there and to be the one to reproduce. And so then I put it in this framework as like, okay, so what am I doing? By telling people I'm smarter than them, I am challenging them to like this alpha battle, and then they're going to want to fight me over it. And if they can't fight me with the intellect, then what are they going to do? They're going to recruit friends, and they're going to sort of fight me with the tribe to put me back down where I belong, because I'm not an alpha of anyone, right? And so that's how I kind of rationalized it and figured out, okay, this is what's going on. This is what I'm doing. I'm challenging people. I'm butting heads with them. And so I don't even remember what your question was, but
I don't remember what it was either, actually.
yeah.
What were
Yeah.
the tidal waves like? That was the original question. What were the tidal waves? Tidal waves.
Yeah. So that was so tidal waves were like people, I mean, like, I like back in grade school too, like just groups of kids just wanting to kick my ass.
A
Like,
group. Okay.
yeah, waiting to ambush me wherever,
That's particularly traumatic, I think.
Yeah.
Literally have the whole tribe wanting to. Oof.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like a lonely feeling, I think, and feeling separate from everyone else. It's like,
Yeah, and confused too is like, why,
oh yeah,
it didn't make sense.
the
Like, why
confusion.
is
I
there
think
a
is
different
universal.
kid every day after school? Like, I didn't even meet this kid. Why is he wanting to fight me? I don't get it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that can drive. Well, I would think it would drive anyone wild, but especially for TI people, you want to solve the problem and understand it.
Yeah.
It feels like when you are getting met with that kind of resistance or attack, and you don't know where the attack's coming from or why, then it really scares the shit out of you. Because like, well, I
Yeah.
don't know what to change to stop this, right?
Yeah. And so I just sort of started tracking that, okay, that's what I'm doing. I'm like,
Mhm.
people are perceiving me as that. I think I'm the alpha, and I'm like land grabbing everything. I'm just, trying to conquer everybody by showing them that I'm smarter than them or whatever, showing them that I'm better than them. So I need to stop this. Otherwise, I don't want to be in alpha battles. That's not what I want to do. That's
Yeah.
not my purpose. Yeah.
It's not fun, you know?
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's like do you feel like that's something that IPs do and other types don't, or do you feel like everyone at some level is trying to kind of be the alpha?
Yeah. I have no idea today now that all of OP came in and stuff, but it just still makes rational sense from an evolutionary perspective that this is just not even IPs. It's just everybody. I have a video on it too, like a really old video when I talked about it. It's just like, the thing is everyone has a different vision of what the alpha is. So like,
Ah, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So like I had the metaphor of like dogs, basically, where dogs are playing fetch and they'll compete over the ball sort of thing. It's like, and then once the dog gets the ball, he'll like go and strut and brag and, you know, not let any other dog touch the ball. It's like,
Getting a mental image of that. Yeah, that's
yeah,
funny.
it's like, yeah, this is the alpha. This is the alpha dog. He caught the ball
Yeah,
first, you know?
well, I
He gets,
got.
yeah, exactly,
You see
basically.
that? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like, this is, it's just, I think everything is a game like that. So, you
Mhm.
know, being the top in the military, or the most financially successful, or, you know,
Or
the
the most
person who's
helpful. That's like a DE thing, right?
right.
I
Yeah.
help everyone else get together.
Right.
I am the helper, and I.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, yeah, I think basically it's that vision. And then the other thing is, it's not only men. I think, like, the thing is, it's hard for me to look in the mind of a woman because I'm not a woman.
Yeah.
But I think it's not only men that have this thing going on. I think women also enable it by basically giving men the vision of the alpha. So like, I remember back in grade school as well, it was like, okay, what musicians were popular? It was always the women that were setting the trends and deciding who is the next alpha sort of thing.
Okay.
And so then it's like all the men were like, oh, okay, here, look, all the women are liking this guy. I got to go be like him. I got to fight in combat and be this type of person, you know?
It's like the women just like desire the alpha, which is more pressure on men to become that, I guess.
Yeah, I think they naturally also that's one thing, they naturally desire that, and then they also say what that is, right? If they
Oh, okay. They
decided,
also
yeah, if
decide
they
what.
decided the alpha is the quiet guy who doesn't fight and I don't know, counts coins all day or whatever, and then all of the men will run to go and do that and be that and show the world, this is what I am, here, like me now, mate with me, you know?
So would you say there's some women that would consider that to be the alpha, or that this is actually the ideal man is the coin counter
I
intro?
have no idea. I need that out of my ass right there.
I
Yeah.
feel like I feel like that could be true. I don't know. Well, women have very various
Yeah.
different preferences, and so. But that's an interesting thought. I hadn't thought of it that way, where it's like
Yeah. And
women
then
kind of decide what is the desirable sort of. Yeah.
right. And then the other thing is they also decide, so then there's becomes bachelors who are, you know, well desired sort of thing, and the women end up competing for this person, and then when one woman gets him, then there's the next one that they compete for, you
Hmm.
know? And that's sort of, it's like this sort of, I don't know, it's this whole game thing that sort of,
Yeah.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, you know?
I've heard some was it I think comedians that said like the only reason they wanted to be a comedian or to be funny was because kind of deep down it was to attract women. And that
Yeah.
was kind of their whole push was to be this amazing comedian.
Yeah. Yeah.
Basically for sex. It's basically a basal, it's a
I mean,
base
genetics.
desire
Yeah.
for yeah,
Our genes want to
for sure.
reproduce. That's what they want to do. And they'll just
Yeah.
put default codes into us to get there.
Mhm. It's funny that something so simple can yet express itself as something more complicated, like being a
Yeah.
comedian or something like that, or
Yeah. 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 So it's like the same thing as the dog game. It's like the ball. So like, what's the game? And culture will decide that, or, you know, our functions will decide that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. So, so were there some like kind of milestones when you were younger? Like, were there some like really big tidal waves that made you kind of have some sort of realization, or were there some turning moments in your life that kind of made you say, okay, I'm gonna figure this out, or I'm gonna be this way, or be nicer, or I'm not gonna tell people I'm smarter than them anymore, or was it more of just a very gradual thing for you?
I mean, yeah, like the number of times you can get thrown to the rock bottom. It's not even just falling. It's like getting bashed your head into the rock bottom, and then it's like, okay, I did something wrong. What's
Yeah, it's
going on?
very abrupt.
Yeah,
It feels like it comes out of nowhere, right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, yeah, there's definitely a bunch of those. Um, I was in military school for a year. That was hell on earth.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
was, I went to the army here in Israel. That was nothing in comparison to, like, absolutely nothing. Um, you know, like, you know, normal stuff like living on your own. Um, you know, getting kicked out of your house, or fights with your parents, or, you know, all that kind of stuff. Falling out with friends.
Mm.
Um, Tons of stuff. I'm sure everybody goes through this kind of thing. You know,
Yeah.
the
Absolutely.
the yeah.
So like, did you have any major? Well, how was it when you're in the military? Did you feel like you had to change there, or were you already a pretty developed person, or did you have to learn to different ways to get along with people better there, or how was that for you?
I mean, so the military here was a bit of a challenge because not because of the discipline or anything
Mhm.
because I was just like older. Everyone here was like 18,
Oh,
19
okay,
sort of thing, and I was already like 26. So
okay. Mhm.
and so yeah, like the people who were in charge of me were like a lot younger than me, and so like that was the challenge more. So okay, it's like I'm back in high school. Like
Okay,
I already finished university and now I'm back in high school. I don't know what I'm doing, you know.
because you're basically with kids.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
18, you're
And
still
and
kind of a
and so it's
kid.
like going back to those games, to that mindset. It's like I don't want to be pulled back into this.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I left here for a reason.
Oh, yeah. Were you glad to get done with high school? How was high school for you? Did you dislike high school?
So I mean, the beginning of high school, I guess, was rough. But then after military school was in the middle of high school, and then afterwards, high school was great. Um, yeah, I don't know what to say. I had this whole philosophy actually, where it's like, there's like lunchtime and everyone gets to sit at these tables at lunchtime, and the whole thing, it's like exactly like in the movies or the TV shows, where it's like, no, you can't sit here, you can't sit here. So it's like I was just sitting on my own sort of thing at lunch, and then like people come and join me and we play cards, and then I tried to join like at the like when I first got there, there was like this in click or whatever that invited me over, and I was just like accepting of everybody, and they don't like that. They don't do that. They're like, no, we don't talk to him. How are you talking to him? I was like,
It's the cool
well,
kids
screw
group.
this. Yeah, it's like screw this. I'm gonna go talk to him. You guys can talk to each other.
Yeah.
so so yeah, so like that's what I did. I sat off on my own, and then people started joining, and the table got bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's like all of a sudden it's like the cool kids table, like everyone's there, and then like all of the younger kids are like, no, you can't sit here. And I was like, what the hell? How did we
How did
become
this
like the
happen?
cool?
It
Yeah,
was some kind of
exactly.
natural thing, I guess, right?
Yeah. So like that, it's like really weird to see that organically happen. It's like, oh, this is like the process it goes through to get to that point. Crap.
And you're
What
the
did
head
I
of all of
do?
it. You're the cult leader.
Yeah. It's like shit. What did I do? How did I do this? I didn't want this at all. Yeah.
Oh man. Did you feel like so it was this is how it was for me. Did you feel like you weren't really a part of any group, but you knew people from a bunch of other different
Yeah.
groups and you kind of didn't
Exactly like
like
that. Yeah. Yeah.
mm.
Yeah.
It was the same for me. Yeah.
Yeah. The whole group thing made no sense to me. It's like, why can't I talk to you again? Oh, you're like higher than me in some social whatever.
Did you
Yeah.
ever want to be a part of like the cool kids group?
I mean, I didn't, I think I just didn't want to be rejected by groups.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't want to be part of anything. I think just the fact that they didn't let me apart was kind of like,
Mm.
well, as soon as they don't want to let you apart, it's like, no, I don't want to be a part of that then. Like,
You get sour
you,
grapes. You're like,
you guys
you
don't
guys are
see how
pickle
awesome and
anyway.
amazing I am. So sorry, I don't want to be a part of you guys.
You guys have bad taste. Okay, it's all
Right.
good.
Yeah. What about you? Did you resonate with that a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I wanted to be, I think, one of the popular kids. But yeah, I didn't necessarily want to be a part of a group, but I wanted to be well liked, I think, by everyone, you know? So
Yeah.
maybe that's similar, I don't know. Um, but it was tough. I was such an awkward, shy, nervous, like teenager that it was hard to be my friend, I think, and it took a while to get to know me. And it took a while for me not to be just super like closed off and stuff. And, so I
Yeah.
didn't make it easy on people, that's for sure. But yeah, I had secretly wanted to be one of the cool kids, definitely, but it's okay.
Well, you are now.
Yay, thank you. Yeah, so yeah, I'm fucking glad high school's over with though. How were things in college? Things change in college? Was that a different experience for you or?
um, yeah, I guess I was more of a straight edger sort of kid,
Okay.
like less.
Like you weren't a big partier or how do you
I
mean?
wasn't, yeah, I wasn't a big partier,
Hmm.
and then in university, just everybody had to party, and I was like, I don't know, if I somehow I got into this house of like seven other guys that I didn't know, and they were all like heavy drug users and heavy partiers, and
Oh shit.
I was like, oh, what am I gonna do here then? So yeah, I sort of had to like adjust to that culture. And you know, they would go out every night to like clubs and bars, and I wouldn't want to, but it's just like, okay, well, you know, will I just keep, I saw one of them is just like keeping to himself and not going out, and like how they hated him for it, and I was like, I don't want to be that guy. So I'm gonna go out even though I hate it.
Oh,
And
so you still went out? Okay.
yeah, and I did my best to learn to like it, or to
Hmm.
learn to like it, love it, or whatever.
Drink
um
enough, you should like it, right? And then you don't.
right. Well,
Definitely.
also I'm not like that big a heavy drinker either. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, I got into like marijuana a little bit, and I like that a lot better than getting drunk. Getting drunk just seems kind of dumb.
Hmm. It has consequences, I've learned.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I just never saw the point of it. I mean, I like beer. I drink like a beer every day or
Okay,
whatever.
well,
Yeah,
I just happen to have one
same.
here,
You just
actually.
happen to have one, yeah. I
Yeah,
just drank one earlier.
just came out of nowhere. I don't know how to end
But
up there, but might as well drink it, right?
but yeah, like I'm not gonna sit and get drunk every night. You know, that's not my thing.
Yeah, you can't do that. That'll fuck
Yeah,
you up. Yeah, and especially if you're going to school. Good luck passing
yeah,
it.
yeah. So like I sort of screwed up one of my years by living in that house and not doing homework, which, you know, when you're in engineering physics, that's not good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no shit, yeah.
Yeah.
It's yeah, I had a similar experience when I was with three other people. And they were like pretty hardcore partiers, and I was like just a very introverted, kind of emo a little bit kid.
Right.
It's maybe hard to see an emo ISTP, but yeah, I was just emotionally, I was not very mature, I guess, right? And yeah, it was super hard to fit in with them, and I feel like I was the most hated guy in that dorm, and I definitely was. They definitely, but I brought a lot of that onto myself. I was super standoffish without being able to see that I was being that way. But I did go party with them. I eventually, yeah, got into that, kind of for similar reasons to you as well. But that was one of my major tidal waves where just one day I realized that my roommates just seemed like they just hated me. And so I had to really look at like, okay, why is that? What am I doing? And that was a big flip for me, that kind of experience in college. But
Yeah. So what did you do? You just like, no, I'm not having roommates anymore because
quite the opposite.
yeah.
I ended up transferring, not because of that. I quit the wrestling team, and I was there for wrestling, and it was super expensive. So I went back to Texas. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna have new dorm mates this time. All of the shit that I think that I did to push my roommates away, I'm not gonna do this time. So I'm gonna leave my door open. I'm gonna go hang out with them when they do stuff. I'm not gonna be a dick. I'm gonna make sure I clean things. I'm not just like one of those shitty roommates that doesn't clean ever. And did that, and I had an awesome experience with them, and we really got along really well. And I still talk to a lot of them today. So like
Yeah.
that was like my wake up call, was that whole college thing, you know?
I mean, that's another thing. Like, I was cleaning things. They just didn't know I was because I wasn't vocal about it and telling them every little
Hey, I
thing I was
cleaned this
doing.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, that's, I think you might resonate with this. Is like, we're really bad at communicating what we do and why we do it. It's like, it's my decision what I do. Why do I have to tell everybody what my decision is and get
It
their
doesn't
approval?
register. Yeah, it's like, why do I need
It's,
to tell anyone?
yeah,
Like, it's done. You
exactly.
see it done.
Yeah. So and so like people would think I wasn't cleaning anything because I was just cleaning stuff and not telling anybody.
Ah,
And
okay.
I was getting tidal waves from that too. It's like lack of communication. It's just
Yeah, that's oh, man, and that's a tough one. Even I still struggle with that. Not with like the necessarily cleaning, but just in general, because it's like I don't know what I need to announce, and it feels weird to
yeah.
announce it. It's like, hey, by the way, I did this. That to me feels
Yeah.
like what the fuck? Like, okay, great, Dave. You know?
Like I'll announce it if it's relevant, or it's like, and I mean, if you're with an observer in close proximity, it's like, why are you hiding that information? I'm not hiding anything. Like I
Oh,
just,
okay. Well,
it's like,
to me, it feels like I'm bragging. Like, oh, I guess what
yeah,
I did today, I cleaned the toilet. So just so you know, like, how do
yeah,
I say that in a way where like it comes off as me communicating and not me like trying to like let you know? Like, or do you know what I'm saying by that? Like,
yeah. And it's like the same thing. Okay, well, if I communicate like now, then I have to communicate every time I do something. Otherwise, they'll think I'm
oh
not
yeah,
doing it if I'm not communicating it.
there's a oh fuck, it's such a how do God blasters? Can you leave a like comment or something and let us know how this shit's supposed to work? Do you just as soon as you do something, it just comes out
Yeah.
and people get used to that?
I mean, I got a guy at work who's probably play blast or something like that,
Mhm.
or I don't know what he is, but he's play
He's
first,
revved up though. Sounds
revved up, and he talks about doing things more than he actually does things.
like
If that makes
okay,
sense.
that's funny.
Yeah, and it's like I don't want to be that guy. I want, I want to be the guy that does stuff and doesn't say anything. I want to be the reliable person that does things and doesn't announce it. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. It does to put a positive spin on that. It does make you as a person seem more interesting when you don't reveal stuff, and people just happen to find out.
Right.
Like, oh, dude, you were
Yeah.
in World War II? I didn't know that. Yeah, I was a paratrooper. It's no big deal, you know.
Yeah. Right.
Because
Well,
I
I
don't
mean,
know,
I'm
to
not
me,
that
it feels
old,
so
but yeah.
weird to like tell people that like, oh, I did this or I'm this. I'm like, who gives a fuck? Like, that's my brother. Who gives a fuck about them? Why would I
Yeah.
tell people that? And I don't care if they know that or not. And so it's like,
Yeah, it's the same thing. I do so many things. Why do I have to broadcast every little thing I do during the entire day? Like, yeah, I woke up 5 minutes late today. I have to tell like all of my close people that I did that. I
mm.
mean,
I'm trying to learn from my blaster friends. Like when we communicate, it's tough with text messages because they'll just go like just paragraphs, and I'm like, I'll reply with like two sentences. Like I don't know how to expand that. This is the most I can reply because there's a lot of details about mundane stuff, and I don't know what to say other than oh that's cool or like, do you know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, I need to
yeah.
keep up, and I need to kind of reciprocate here. I don't know how to do that. Like that's
I mean,
something.
so here's something that, like, if someone wants to know something, I would assume they would want to ask. Like they would ask. I would just give like the
Mm,
title of the book, right? And if they want to know what's in the book, so just ask a question. Like I'm not going to go and tell you the whole book if you're not even interested. I mean, it just gets really self-absorbed and annoying. It's like, okay, I'm just going to give you the title. If someone actually wants to know more, they'll ask. They'll show interest.
yeah. It
Yeah, I'm
almost
not
feels
going
like
to.
it's like an FE violation to just start telling everyone all the contents of the book. You
Right.
know, I feel like FE is kind of modulating that a bit. It's like, what's appropriate here? I'm not really sure. Like, do they want to know
Yeah.
about the book? Will they be like upset if I don't say anything about it, or will they prefer that I don't just spill my guts? I have no idea.
Yeah.
Well, so yeah, maybe I just need to ask. Maybe
So
that's
yeah,
the
I
solution.
think that too is like those two. That's what I'm perceiving you as doing when you like answer those two sentences. Is like, hey guys, there's a lot more here, but let me just give you like something to hold on to. If you're interested, ask about this.
Yeah, yeah,
But then
maybe
you're putting the obligation on the other person to like pull the information out of you. You
that's
know?
true. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been learning from some people. Like I've been, yeah. Like some people I exchanged messages with, they're really good about asking questions. I realized
Right.
in conversation I almost never ask questions. I'm like, okay, I need
Yeah.
to start doing that.
And
Like they'll pick out little things and ask to keep the
right.
conversation going. It's like, oh, I need to. Okay, I need. But I've been learning that. I'm
Yeah.
trying.
The other thing is we're not built to go in depth that much because people just get bored. Like TI just runs them down. We'll just get deep into all the little logical details, and people will just be like, "I'm out, done." Because like I've seen people give long emails,
Hmm.
and no one's going to read it. Obviously, no one's going to read it, but they'll give the whole email of everything that they need to communicate, and it's there. So like no one could accuse them of not saying it. But like what you do is you just skim it. You're like, okay, yeah, I get the gist of what this person's saying. And if I was interested, I could look. So it's like now the person who's reading it doesn't have to go and bother the person and ask them for more info. But like when I tried that strategy, and so like I put everything in this thing and I give it to people, and then I don't know, for some reason they don't read it, and then they don't get the right information. They show up at the wrong time or stuff goes wrong. I'm like, dude, I wrote it in the email. Why didn't you look? So it's like it's both things.
Yeah, there's like a fight. Yeah, I see that
Yeah.
at work sometimes too. Yeah, when I send emails and it's like they didn't do this, it's like it was in the email. It's like okay, I need to make this somehow find a balance where it's not too much information, but to where
Right.
like the important points are going to stick in their head and not just skim it. Because I do that. I'll just fucking skim it. Like I don't want to read this whole
Yeah.
thing word for word. Okay,
Yeah.
what's the point? Okay, this is the point. Okay, I move on.
And
So
it
I'm
takes a lot
I'm
more energy.
guilty of
Yeah.
the same thing. Yeah.
It takes a lot more energy, and you got to go through the email again, and you got to bold it or whatever you're doing. You got to say a whole bunch of stuff that no one's going to give a shit about, but you still have to say it. Otherwise, you'll get accused of hiding stuff.
Yeah. It's like where's the balance?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a tough. I guess we just figure it out naturally over time by
Yeah.
trying too much, trying too little. You find the boundaries somewhere in there.
Right.
Of course,
Yeah.
it's never, no one's, not every, it's never going to make everyone happy, but at least we can get to a point where it makes the most people.
Yeah, that's good. That's basic like engineering principles. It's like if you're driving down the road and you need to like swerve, if you swerve too much, you're gonna have to swerve too much back and then back, and you'll never actually come to like this steady balance in between. And so yeah, if you are doing that, like you try too much and then you try too little and then you try too much, you got to sort of eventually come to some kind of place where you're not swerving anymore, you know.
Yeah,
That's the
exactly.
goal.
Got to
Yeah.
see where find the boundaries and then work towards the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, man. Okay, so that was a bit about, well, I derailed it quite a bit. I don't even know.
Demon Blast a bit, yeah.
Actually, oh yeah, Demon Blast. That's right. Okay, cool. So those of you that want to know what Demon Blast is like, we just kind of gave our experiences on that. So what's it like now? Like, what are you like actively doing to work on your FE and NI? If you do that, I don't know if you're probably to a point where that maybe doesn't need much help, but yeah, what are some things you're doing to grow as a person?
I mean, consciously, the only thing I'm really doing now is this sort of thing, like the interviews. Like what you're doing with the interviews is good work on your FE. I don't know if you've noticed it, being exercised.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
This kind of thing.
Yeah, sure.
Like this kind of thing at first exhausted me. It's
I can imagine.
not easy. Yeah, it's especially when the pressure is on you to be the interviewer and you have to keep the channel going, like keep the conversation flowing, and you know. So there's that aspect that you work on the FE. No, it's hard. Like I know I'm not doing it enough, even though I'm trying to do it more. You know, I know I need to make my boss happy. Like I can't just do work. Like it's more important than actually getting the work done is making sure your boss is happy with you. And it just blows my mind. How is that more important? Like,
yeah,
I feel like if I did all of my work right, then of course he'll be happy. No, the goal is making him happy. Do your work after.
Do you think if you had a TI boss that he would be happy with just the work being done well, or do you think you'd also run into the same problems?
I mean, I'm trying to think if I was a boss. It's like
Yeah,
I would like people to do their own shit and leave me the hell alone, you know?
that
Yeah.
makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I guess okay. I guess it depends on so like I had the same issues with bosses as well. I had one boss that was great because she actually appreciated the fact that I didn't ask her questions and stuff. And she was like, said it like a good thing in one of our performance reviews. Like, I just give you the assignment, then it shows up done when it's
Yeah.
due, and I don't have to really worry about it.
Right.
Thank you. Other bosses freak the fuck out because I don't talk to them for weeks sometimes. I'm like, dude, I just need to know, like, are you working on this, or are you struggling, or whatever? It's like, wait, like, don't you trust me? Like, what? Like, like if I was struggling or needed,
Yeah, the worst thing is getting all up in your stuff and micromanaging you and
yeah,
all that kind of stuff is it's like I can make my decisions on my own. I don't need like your approval on, when to take a 5-minute break or, what font to use on this.
sure,
Like, let me show you the finished product. If you see something wrong, I'll go back,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess maybe just to some degree, I feel like I'm making the assumption that they see me and they know me to a point where they know I'm going to get it done, which they don't. They
Right.
just
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
me as human B or human C or whatever. And so it makes sense that they would freak out because a lot of people kind of need to be micromanaged or to look after for them to do shit. So I
mean,
can see that would freak a manager out.
I had a boss that wanted me to give him a report of everything I did that day, every day.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And I was just, it was hell.
It's like, this is preventing me from doing work.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, instead of doing this, I could have done more work. And now I'm, cutting my work short, doing less work to write your thing.
And it's probably like, or at least for me, it would be stressful. And then I would have like less energy overall, I think, to be
Right.
productive at work.
And you have to be on that the whole day because like at the end of the day, remembering all of the little things you did and not missing something or like, and then at the same time, you're like, oh crap, like today it looks like I didn't do anything. What am I going to pad this with? And so you have to actually make stuff up in order to not look like you did nothing.
Dude, that sounds awesome. Do you still have to do that? Or is that like a past?
No more. It's done.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good. I'm sure
I got
that was a
it.
relief.
Yeah.
God. Dude, I had a job where we had to record every 15 minutes what we did. And like
Oh,
this
wow.
little time tracker thing. It was the worst fucking job I've ever had. And I hated that job so much. But we had in the time track every 15 minutes what you did. It was so stupid. It's like, God damn. It's like 15 minutes working on stuff. Next 15 minutes also working on stuff. Next thing 15 minutes. Guess what? Working on stuff. And it's just, it's super annoying. Don't care for the micromanagement.
Now I'm supposed to even log my vacations and I'm still bad at that. It's like
Like, well, do you mean like just mark when you're on vacation, or how do you
Yeah,
mean?
mark like the day before that I'm going to take a vacation. It's like,
I mean that's okay. I mean that sounds
yeah.
good, right?
I mean, I told the guy, and like, for example, I just took a vacation today, and he wrote me a message. He's like, "Good job marking down your vacation, man." Like,
Okay, wait, that's good. He's like
yeah.
encouraging. He's like, thank you for blasting.
No, no, but like it was rhetorical because I didn't mark it down.
Oh,
So
you didn't mark. Okay, then
he's
shame
like,
on
"Good
you,
job."
bitch.
Yeah.
You just left and nobody knows. Like,
No,
why
he
are
knew.
we
He knew.
down here?
He told me make sure you mark it down, and I didn't mark it down.
He muttered something about a vacation a week ago. Maybe he's doing
No, no, I communicated. I told him. I told him.
that.
No, because like the contrast of that would be to mark it down and then just not say anyone and just not show up. Like that's also bad, right? You got to tell the
Gotta
people
cover
and
your
you got to mark
bases.
it down. You got to do both, you know?
I think that's the struggle for the ISTP. It's like, guys, I thought the work was important here. All this other stuff, like, I mean, the other stuff is important. I'm coming to realize that. But I think for the default mindset is like, the work is done well. That's what we all care about, right? Like, this shit is
Yeah,
good. This other filling out reports and all this other shit, is this really necessary? We're here to work, right? Like, what are we doing?
yeah.
You know?
And then also like, I guess we can get caught up and do things that doesn't seem important to other people, even though it kind
Even
of
though it's
is.
important to us, yeah.
Yeah. And like a lot of it is getting a system down so that it takes less time in the future to do work.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like, wow, it took you like 1 week to do this thing, and this other guy did it in like 2 days. It was like, yeah, it took me 1 week, but look, I can do it in an hour now.
Ah,
I can
okay.
do
So
the
you're
next one in an
spending
hour.
time
Yeah,
actually developing the system
yeah,
along.
yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, yeah.
And so
You
like
feel
that
like
first
you,
one, yeah.
with like projects, you tend to go more into depth of like researching for that project than your colleagues, and then maybe that slows you down. Do you run into that as well?
I mean, I guess just making sure you got it done the best possible way that you
Mhm.
can. I guess like example in programming, the first time I write a type of program, I just spend most of my time developing the libraries and um, that just waste all my time on the libraries. And then when I ever want to do that kind of program again, I've got all the libraries ready. I just call the libraries and I'm done in an hour.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You're like putting a bunch of time in like the reusable components of what you
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
use in the future. Okay.
yeah.
Well, that
This is
should be
getting a
like,
bit boring. Yeah, but we can move on.
I would think that would be a good thing if you, because you should be able to explain that to your boss. Listen, it's taking me a long time now, but in the future, this is going to be really short because I'm developing something we can use for everything, and then we
Yeah,
can streamline it.
but
So,
like so like in a TE way, you can hear yourself saying that. Like, what would I think if someone said that to me? It's like, oh, this guy's just bullshitting. He's like watching YouTube and he's just
it
making
does
stuff
sound
up
the
while he's
bullshit.
thinking.
Yeah, yeah. You'd have
Yeah,
to know the person, I guess, right?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I can see that. Yeah.
yeah.
That's like, yeah, that's like, do you ever feel like when you do TI deeply explain stuff, your decisions behind stuff that people just think you're bullshitting? Does
Yeah,
you
for sure, 100%. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. You just look really guilty. I mean, people catch you in some kind of some. It happens. You get caught doing something that you shouldn't be doing or whatever, and then you're like, no, no, let me explain it to you, and then like you go into this deep. There's like they don't follow you, and they think you're just so guilty and
Yeah, yeah.
done. Yeah,
It's like, no, no, I've thought this out. Like I had a very good explanation for I didn't just do this because I'm an idiot. Like,
right.
listen, let me just explain this. So first I did this, and the person's like, just don't do it again, okay? I don't care about all that. It's like, no, I know not to do it like
Yeah,
that, but it turned out this way because of the no more explaining. It's like, fuck. Yeah.
yeah,
You feel like you just have to dumb stuff down, so or not dumb, maybe not dumb it down, but like just kind of just give the
simplify it.
very simplified,
Yeah.
kind of something they can relate to and something blah blah blah. You want the details, I'll give you to them.
Yeah, so I'm thinking to leverage the blast, it has to come into some kind of NF. You can't just go to the TI to explain stuff to them. You got to do the NF blast to
I've
explain it
learned
to
that in
them.
most situations you can't go to the TI.
Yeah,
It's just like what does that function for other than like I don't
screwing
know,
yourself
figuring
over.
shit out? Like what is
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
I don't even know. Like when it comes to, relationships and daily stuff, it feels like the TI is you like you're just carrying around a samurai sword. Is there ninjas around here? Why do you have that sword? Or what do you need? Well, you
yeah,
never know. I just like using it. It feels like it's not necessary very often. It feels like it's just I don't know. Unless you're like
Yeah,
in some crazy research field or something, it's like, why do you need
yeah,
to? Why does
yeah.
this?
Good luck also in a romantic relationship, like
Oh God,
explaining
romantic
things with your
relationships
TI.
being a
Yeah,
TI guy. Holy, you're fucked.
yeah.
You know,
It's like
for a while.
explain.
Eventually, you learn the FE,
Yeah,
right? But like,
yeah.
oh God, some of my earlier ones, or even just like trying to date in general, early when I was younger, was just like a fucking was traumatic, to say the least. How was it for you? Was it kind of a similar thing, or what was it like dating, being a TI guy? I mean,
I
now
mean,
you're doing great, but like,
it's no, I'm doing just as bad right now. Don't
oh
worry.
no, okay,
um, no, it's like I forgot what I was gonna say. Um, I'm trying to think back on my older relationships. It's like no, someone has to invest time into understanding you, and no one's gonna do that. Like
yeah, that's true, yeah,
they're just gonna take you at face value and then think badly of you because they're not taking the time to invest into your process. So like I don't know, just I can't think of an example, but like sometimes two people can do something for vastly different reasons. So I mean, like let's say going on Instagram, for example. So like one person could go on Instagram to like chase girls and to for popularity and
yeah,
things like this, and someone else can go on Instagram to like I don't know to publicize their business and to do things like that. So it's like this is just an example. Like this is just a metaphorical example. So like someone looks at you and they're like, "Oh, you're on Instagram. What are you there for?" And you're like, "Okay, well, let me explain to you all the intricacies of why I'm actually there. Like I've got this whole background reason." And it's like you're just there to look at girls. No, I'm trying to explain to you. No. So like that's kind of like what it feels like to be TI in a relationship. It's like they take you at face at yeah. They don't want to go into the intricacies and understand the actual reasons. Like you actually have pure reasons for doing things.
yeah, yeah. At surface level, the surface level looks very different than what's deeper
Right.
within, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
you have to
It's
explain
strange.
why it looks the way it does, and sometimes
Yeah.
that's very difficult.
And
Right?
it's when you do that, you look guilty. That's exactly what
Mm.
we
Yeah,
were
yeah,
getting at. Yeah. When you explain why, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's yeah, which is I've
Especially the
learned
people
that
with
there's a
TE.
certain way you
Yeah.
have to explain why. There's tone
Yeah.
and body language involved. Generally, if you're very relaxed when you explain it and you kind of take it step by step, it's generally acceptable. But if you're like, well, I was thinking of this, if you get like excited, then it feels like you're bullshitting, which makes sense, right? If somebody gets emotional about it, then maybe they are bullshitting.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, TI in relationships, that is not.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like people don't believe you too? It's like when you say things that are true and they just don't like they say I don't believe you. It's like what?
Yeah, I get that a lot. Or like
Yeah.
I get a lot. I don't feel like that's true. Even though they can't like say they can't provide like a logical reason why it's not true. Well, I don't feel like that's true. It's like, well, I guess we can end it there then. I don't know what to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't combat with if you feel a certain then like okay, I can't.
Because like I think also as DIs we're really aware of the reason why we do things. And so if some like the Instagram example, so if someone were to say you're on Instagram to look at girls, it's like, no, that wasn't part of my decision process. I know that's not the reason. And they're like, I don't believe you. Well, what can we do?
Yeah, I was like, well, okay, what do you let's hypothetically say I'm telling the truth.
Yeah.
What can I say to convince you? Absolutely fucking nothing. So what are we talking
Nothing. Yeah.
about? Yeah, it's like I feel like maybe we also project on other people that everyone else knows the reason why they do things too, which is hard to wrap your head
Right.
around that not everyone is kind of paying attention to that, especially
Right.
the more
Right.
extroverted
So
personality types.
yeah, the DEs are looking at how it will make them look. So like they would never, again with a stupid example, but they would never go there because they're like, even if they had a reason to do it, it's like, no, 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 I don't want people to have a bad perception of me. So I'm going to control that perception and not do it. Like that's what they're focused on,
Okay.
even though it could be true and it could be the best thing to do. And like you might have tons of reasons to go do it. Your perception's bad. Don't do it. Done.
Okay. You see that a lot, like kind of a pattern with DEs where that's a lot of it's how it looks to other people is kind of defined
Yeah.
decision a lot of time. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. They're really aware of how the tribe sees things. And that's what they're controlling. That's what they're aware of. So,
Mm. Whereas we are not aware.
yeah,
That's
no
so
clue.
interesting. We try to be, but
Yeah.
which is funny because sometimes it comes off as us being like very independent and sure of ourselves. No, I'm just not aware that people are going to think badly of this, so it makes it easy to do it because I'm not like
Right. and
you know,
where we get so focused on it too is like no one should think badly about it because like everything I'm doing everything with pure intentions and good reasons and it's
yeah,
all making sense. So like why would someone, you know, see bad on it? But no, that's
yeah.
not how it works.
Well, I think
Yeah.
also with us, I think we don't. I think we're pretty good. I just pat the ISTP on the shoulder a bit. I think we're pretty good at like when people do their own thing, we're not the types to be like, oh, can you believe they did that? Like, I don't think we really do that, right?
Yeah.
We understand everyone has their own reasons for shit. Everyone's like doing their own thing. You want to do that? Okay.
Yeah,
Like,
and there's trust. Like I trust that you have good reasons,
must
you
be
know.
you got your
Oh,
reasons for doing
I
that.
saw you on Instagram. I'm not going to think it's because of any reason. I'm sure you have a good reason. Like
Yeah, yeah.
it's just trust.
Because
Yeah.
everyone has a good reason, right? It's,
Yeah.
it's kind of like yeah, it's
Right.
yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, okay. So I guess we touched on a little bit about kind of what you're doing for growth and stuff like that. Was there anything else that you were kind of making a habit of doing to improve that, other than working on your videos and
No, like the
blasting and that sort of thing?
yeah. So I read a book way back. So this was my dad gave me a book. He saw that I was having trouble with people. I think he got in a fight with me or something like that, or I got in
And
a
your
fight with
dad's an
him.
INTP, right? Or
Yeah. That's right.
okay,
Yeah,
so he
yeah. So
understands.
so yeah, I don't know. But like we got in a fight or whatever, and then he got me this book after the fight. It's like how to win friends and influence people, right?
Oh, that's a great book. Yeah, yeah, I know
Yeah,
that. Mhm.
yeah. So no one else thinks it's great, by the way.
Really? That's like
Yeah,
one of the most recommended books. Like I've
yeah. So I recommend it. But anyways, he gave it to me sort of like I took it as like, you know, as a, you know, you're you're a shitty piece of whatever, you need help. So here,
You
take
need
this
help
book.
here. Just read this
Yeah,
fucking book, dude. I'm done with
yeah, yeah.
you.
Like yeah, sort of like he was making, I don't know, like it was sort of like a personal attack. Here, take this book. So it sat
Or
on my
like an
shelf for a
insult,
while.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
like it was like an insult that he got it from me, sort of thing. And so like it sat on my shelf for a while because I was like, I don't need this. Like screw you, I can do this without your books and your advice, and you know.
Mhm.
But then I was looking at it, and so I actually sat down and I read it, and good advice in there for IPs, like
Yeah,
especially my type at least. It was
yeah,
good for me, where it's like just stop focusing on yourself, be genuinely interested in other people.
yeah.
Like, and that was the main advice in the whole book. If like that's the only lesson in the whole book. Just be
And I,
interested in other people. Done.
yeah.
You don't have to read the book. I saved you the whole book. But he goes through a whole lot of, you know, convincing of why it's important and all this
Mhm.
stuff.
And like
But yeah,
different sensory things you could do for that. Like
right. Yeah.
remember people's names
But
and
yeah,
etc. Yeah.
that's right. So just be genuinely interested in other people. And like, that's what kind of what you know, I practiced
Hmm.
before my interviews. I was interviewing people, you know, since high school, um, because that's what the book was saying, you know, that's what's going to help you, sort of thing. So like that's kind of where I started working on my interview skills back in high school. I was just That's how I talk to people. I interviewed them. Like I
You read
don't
this in
talk.
high school. Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
talking about myself now is because I'm on an interview, but I would never do this with anyone. I would never talk about myself like this. I would
Oh,
always talk about them, focus on them,
mhm.
pull as much information out of them, make them feel special, and just be genuinely interested in them. And like that's how you get people to quote unquote like you. But I mean, when you do that enough, it just becomes natural, and that's how
Sure.
you exercise your FE. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Yeah, that's a great book, and yeah, I think it's a good recommendation, especially for Demon FE, and maybe for Demon. I guess Demon TE is probably as well. I mean, it feels like the book is a little more on the FE
Yeah,
side of things,
it's
but
actually a really old book, and it's I think one of the first self-help books around. So like
probably right. It was
it started the whole self-help
Carnegie, I think, was
industry.
like
Yeah.
a
Dale Carnegie, yeah.
yeah,
It
yeah,
started the whole self-help industry, sort of thing. Was
mhm,
that kind of, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I read that in was it in college or maybe before grad school or something like that. I read it, but I wish I would have had that earlier. Yeah, it was a really good book.
But I mean, it's all obvious stuff too. It's like it's something that everyone should be doing that, you know?
Yeah. I wonder if like FEs read that book and they're like, well, duh, like, duh,
Yeah.
why should you do all this?
I mean, I talked to Kendrick about that, and he said, "Oh, yeah, it's obvious. Like that was the worst book. It was a useless book. There was no point reading it. It's just all
Yeah,
the most
well, for
obvious
him,
stuff."
it was, yeah, a lot of sensory and a lot of like, it's probably not going to stimulate his NE too much, but
Yeah,
still, anyone, I think anyone can learn something from there, you know?
yeah.
For sure. Okay, so how has OP helped you? How has like this whole journey with OP, making the videos, learning the typology stuff, how has that affected your life?
So it screwed me over, OP.
Oh
It
no, it
doesn't help me at
did,
all. It completely destroyed my entire life. Yeah.
but in a good way, right? Or no?
No.
Okay, well, good to know.
It's like I was busy solving other things. You know, I don't know. I'm always trying to solve. I don't know if I'm full of myself or whatever, but it's like the biggest problems in the world. It's like, okay, well, I will take a crack at it because on the off chance that I can solve it, I have to try, right? So I would take on the biggest problems in the world. And
Mhm.
so OP comes along and it's just like, oh, okay, all right, this is something. I'll start learning it. It's like, oh no, now I got to solve something else. And now I'm stuck in this system trying to solve it and figure it out, you know?
Mhm.
And again, like I don't want to keep plugging my interviews. That's not the
No,
point of
no,
it. But
please. Yeah,
yeah,
plug away. No, that's
no,
fine.
no, no. That's not the point is that like when I was taking the classes and learning the stuff, it took me like really short time to figure out the system and to just learn the basics, and then it was just like there's a lot of missing information here. Like
Mhm.
all we're doing is getting directly from Dave and Chan info about what they're seeing,
Yeah.
but how am I going to also see it? I'm not seeing because you have to see it through their eyes. So it's like no, I want to and so like the interview, one of the purposes, like again, I've got tons of reasons for these interviews,
Yeah, yeah.
especially by now when they start stacking up and adding up. But
Mhm.
like that was one of the original reasons. It's like, okay, we need to go and interview people who've been typed and see what they're saying about their types, because
Sure.
like there's lots of data here, there's lots of information. And at first I was like, I don't want to do it. So who's going to do it? I'm going to try to convince people. No one wants to be convinced. No one sees that there's a void there. No one sees that
Mhm.
it's important to do that. No one wants to like, because like no one wants to build themselves up and they're like, no, I'll be famous some other way or whatever. I don't know what they were thinking. It's just like, oh damn, I got to do it. So I started doing the interviews, and then now there's like a bunch of other channels popping up doing the same thing, and I think like
Neat.
it's no, yeah, I mean it's great, it's really good because like
But a lot of
I
it was inspired by your channel. Like you kind of
yeah I'm
started this whole movement, I
yeah
think.
I'm not sure if whatever the point though is that like once you see that there is a void there, once people see that there is a void there and that there's a demand for it,
Mhm.
then they'll actually start doing it. I couldn't convince people of that. Like I couldn't
Oh,
beat
okay.
them over the head. You need to go do this. You're the right guy for it. No,
Yeah.
no one's going to do it.
Well, yeah, man. Well, let me plug your channel because it is an amazing resource for pretty much any. Because it's nice because you have actual people, you know their type, they've been officially typed, and you can see how they
Right.
actually interact. They're asked questions about it, and you can see what the type is like kind of in the wild. And you have like, I mean, you don't have every 512 type, but pretty much, I think you have all the function wise, you have everyone though, right? Every
I
combination.
mean, by now I've got. There's no way I have every 512. I've got a bunch of twin types and stuff too. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I've got yeah.
But you have every function combination though, or no? Do you think?
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. I
Yeah,
mean, there's some that are more rare, like ISTJs are pretty rare in the community. ISFJs are
sure.
pretty rare.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, if they are common, they're not coming on interviews,
Yeah.
INFPs are rare. So yeah, there's a few that are rare. Like I only have one FISI.
Oh yeah, those are super rare. Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
find those too. Yeah, they're usually hiding somewhere. I feel like they're
Yeah.
out there. They don't like I think interviews and stuff. It seems.
Right.
But yeah, anyone that wants to check that out, I will put a link in the description of this, so you can see pretty much any type, any interviews them, and you can have them explain their parts to you and everything. So if you want to know what each type looks like, and maybe to verify your own type, you can match
Yeah.
up to what they're saying.
I
See if
think
it
that's
resonates with you.
yeah, I think that's what people primarily use it for is
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
okay, I think I might be this type. Let's look up if Binyamin has an interview or Kendrick. Kendrick's got a channel going too. So I think by now he's interviewed more people because I had to slow down recently, but I'm picking it back up again.
hmm.
So I mean, if they're not on my channel, they're on his channel.
So what's that? So has that helped you a lot, having interviewed all these people? Do you feel like that's really giving you like a lot of data and like you've had like a lot of patterns pop up into the different types? Do you feel like it gave you a better read on that, or
Yeah,
how helpful for was it for you
yeah.
actually doing that?
So like the thing was wanted to do sleep processing on, OP.
Hmm.
And every time I went to go to do sleep processing, I was just missing so much information.
Hmm.
And so really it was such a selfish thing to get the interviews done. I wanted someone else to do it. I didn't even want to waste my energy doing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now that I have that information, I can do the sleep processing a lot easier and a lot better because I've got all of these different reference points, all of
Sure.
these
Yeah.
different questions they've asked in the past. And so just I don't know, sleep is a lot easier now with all of those interviews under my
Mm.
belt, you know?
Okay, yeah, you've got the more pieces to the puzzle with
Yeah.
the whole thing. So like, so do you think you'll continue doing it for a while, or what do you see? Do you see you maybe going into different other types of content? Do you have any plans for just doing videos on the different functions by yourself or anything like that? Or yeah,
I
where do you
mean,
going?
so right now, because I'm trying to develop the FE more, I've
Mhm.
got to be responsive to the community and to what people want, what's giving
Ah,
value,
okay,
right? And so people like the interviews, people want the interviews, and
okay,
as long as there's the demand for it, I still have to I have to keep supplying it. Like in order to be good with my FE, I have to, be in service of that tribe demand sort of thing, that value, creating that value.
sure,
But it doesn't, on the side, I'll still do my own thing. Like I've got a whole bunch of videos of my own ideas, my crazy wormhole ideas that just go down a rabbit hole. But
yeah, they're never ending sometimes, right?
yeah,
But that must be nice though to like to have that demand though. Be like, hey, we want more videos, or hey, will you type me, or will you put me on the
I
show?
mean, is it nice?
I would be happy. I'd be like, really, you want to see more? Okay, like I don't know. For me, maybe not for.
Yeah. I mean, and it's also like people that get typed, they feel like it's a rite of passage too. They feel like, now
Oh yeah, yeah,
I've got to go on that interview. Like
yeah, yeah.
I've got to provide that for them now too. So, I mean, even though I'm probably done for my own sleep processing, I can go and sleep process all I want now,
Okay,
you know, but I, if I want to be, big in self-help and, grow in FE, I got to keep being responsive to what the tribe wants
sure,
and what makes them happy.
that makes sense. Have
Yeah.
you gotten some other feedback for other types of videos that people that want you to do besides the interviews, or not so much?
No, nothing. No.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Why,
Okay.
do you have feedback?
I would love to watch some videos of just explaining different parts of OPS and kind of giving your perspective on it, like just a
Yeah.
video on what TI is or how do you tell the difference between an observer and a decider. And yeah, I would
Yeah.
watch those. I would think that other people would be interested in that as well because we kind of just have Dave and Chan as the source, and some other channels are popping
Yeah.
up. So there is kind of a void there, getting another explanation on
Well,
how
I'll
the
tell you, I'm really hit and miss still with the typings. Um, and
uh,
so until I prove it to myself that that
okay,
I am an authority, I won't come out and start talking as if I am one. And
okay,
so like once I start typing observer decider consistently and able to see it consistently, then
Mhm.
I'll feel like I'll have a good grasp on it, and then I'll come out and talk about it. But until then, I mean, sorry,
That's
I'm not
not
gonna talk
fair
about
enough.
bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, oh yeah, I was just yeah, it would be cool to see, but of course I'm not
No,
putting
no, no,
try pressure on you to do that, of
no,
course.
no, no. I agree. I agree. I'm just saying that I have my own standard
Mhm.
before I can give myself permission to do that.
Yeah, no, I completely
Yeah,
understand that. Yeah,
yeah,
no
yeah.
worries there. Do you feel like when you got into OP and you learned about your type, did that give you a bit of relief? And let me explain the context behind that because like for me, learning about my own type gave me a lot of relief because I feel like my own personality was something almost pathological or just something weird or something off from the norm because of course I'm not seeing other people so well, and so I feel like
Yeah.
I just work different than other people. Did you feel like learning your type was like kind of gave you some like, oh, there are other people like this out there,
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like anything's really changed since I've learned my type. And
Okay,
like I typed myself as TI-NI anyways before I got typed as
okay,
TISE.
because you were super close, yeah,
Yeah, like those were the functions I was seeing. Like I was seeing those functions and I was seeing TI to hell. I was seeing FE voids to hell. Like there was no, I couldn't ignore all of the data of how
yeah, yeah,
bad I was doing in the FE. Yeah.
sure,
So, so yeah, it was pretty obvious that I was an IP and I was a TI first. Um, but beyond that, I didn't see sleep last, and I'm still struggling to see sleep last.
okay,
Um, so, you know, I think like I'm putting type aside, and I'm still working on what I think I need to work on, I guess.
Mhm.
But like, what what holes and what problems I have in my life. Like whenever I see a problem, that's what I have to work on.
Yeah.
And sleep doesn't seem to be a problem. What seems to be a problem is too much sleep, or like, you know, yeah, not enough play seems to be my problem. So
Yeah. Like, yeah, like you need more FE engagement, like in general.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
The
I
thing is
mean,
like when you're an ISTP, you're TISC. The thing is like TI and NI, even if it's a demon, it's not going to be that hard for you, right? Because you got your first savior and you got the third function NI. So I feel like the sleep last ISTPs are not going to seem that sleep last compared to other sleep last. The other sleep last that have the sleep functions as their last two functions, I feel like those people are going to be, it's going to be very obvious that they have issues there. But to have a sleep last as an IP, I think you tend to be more balanced as a type. I'm not saying, I mean, I don't know if you're sleep last.
yeah,
I
I'm
can't tell.
not sure either. Like I can say for sure. I talked about the military school. So
Mhm.
when I got there, I got my ass handed to me.
Okay.
Um, I was the worst at getting everything done on time. I was always wearing a pack. I was always running laps. I was always doing push-ups. I was always like I was the guy that just was always under someone's boot getting my ass kicked because of how bad I was doing with everything.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, at first, like you're not allowed to walk anywhere. You have to run everywhere. Everything you do, you have to run. And it's just they had specific ways you had to set up your kit. Like your t-shirts had to be. I still remember the dimensions. It's like 18 centimeters by 30 centimeters.
Which is
Like
annoying, right? Like, why this arbitrary size? This doesn't make sense. Why do I have to do
that
this, right?
it doesn't matter. Is they could have been any size, but like that's what they said. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
like you need 30 centimeter on the bed, like from the pillow is
Mhm.
like the top of the bed to the crease is 30 centimeters, and then the crease also has to be 30 centimeters, and then the hospital corners, and then like polishing your shoes, and then all of your shirts have to be facing the same direction, and like the crease has to be here, and like the crease has to be over each crease in front of it, so it like cascades forward.
Too much SI, bro. That would have freaked me out.
Yeah, and then like all of the hangers had to be equidistant from each other. If like two hangers were too close to
You're
each
like an
other,
OCD, like
yeah,
mental
yeah.
asylum or
And
something.
so
It's like, holy
I
shit.
was just constantly failing. And then there was like the PT all the time, like the physical training, and just like I don't know. So I think I got my ass handed to me there, and like I don't want to say I was modified because everyone hates that term, but it feels like I really had to engage with my play there, like my energy. I had to get my
Wait,
energy out
what does
there.
modified mean? I've never actually heard somebody use
I,
that in this context.
so it's like okay, so when someone gets typed
Uh,
and they say no, that's not my type, maybe I was modified is basically what they say. Like
I've never
it's
heard
not
that.
in that exact words, but like oh, it's because of my upbringing and it looks like I'm that,
Okay.
so right. And so that's exactly what I'm doing here. I'm saying oh yeah, well it's because of the military school that I have such a high play. But like that's what it feels like. That's what it feels like from my perspective, because
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I see what you mean.
And then also it feels like that also because of the how to win friends and influence people as well, is like okay, that told me how to play and what to play. Like it gave me the TINI theory of how to play. Now I just practice it and practice it until I get better. So by the time I got to my interviews, I was already practicing that for like so many years.
Okay.
It's like so yeah, maybe I was good at it, but am I responsible to it? Well, I'm responsible to it because I don't want gangs of kids beating me and ganging up on me on my way home. Like I don't want to die, right? So like I don't feel responsible to go and make sure people are telling me their story all the time, or to be interested in
Okay.
people. I don't have that responsibility, but I forced that on myself so that I didn't get my ass kicked.
Yeah, and it's like it's. I guess the. I guess what Dave and Shannon are saying is they're pretty sure it's like a genetic thing. Your type, you're born with it, it doesn't change. But it's like also there's epigenetics, right? So you could be put in a situation to where certain genes express themselves that weren't there before
Yeah,
or weren't active, which could be if I mean we have no way of verifying any of this.
yeah, yeah.
But it could be that the genes responsible for high play activation could be something that is grown from certain sorts of situations that require that activity,
Maybe,
right?
yeah. But like I think there's a clear difference between if you're good at something or if you're responsible for it.
Okay, so
And
do
just
you feel like
because, yeah, I
so
feel like
you
I'm
feel
really
like you're
good at
not
play.
responsible for play, but you're good
Yeah,
at it? Is that
I'm
kind
really good at play now. Yeah,
of okay?
but I'm not responsible for
I gotcha. Okay, I can relate to that a bit too, like
yeah,
not being
yeah. And you're play second as well. So I
yeah,
mean, for
yeah,
sure.
for sure. I thought I was sleep second when I was, getting typed
Yeah.
too. But yeah, it's hard. I still don't really even completely understand. what play completely is, because I guess it has two sides. Like it is one side of it's energy expenditure. You're doing more than you're preserving. The other side of it is that you're going back and forth with the tribe. The going back and forth with the tribe thing, man, you wouldn't see me doing that much, right? And
Yeah.
then expending more than I'm preserving, I could probably see that. But like, I
Yeah,
don't
so
know. I
that's
don't
something
think
I
I
was
have a
looking
clear
into. Yeah.
definition.
Yeah, I was looking into that too. Like some people who are DE will consume, but they're not actually doing it consume because they're not doing it for themselves. So what are they doing?
Okay.
They're going and they're
Doing it for
learning
the tribe.
something
Mhm.
for the tribe
Yeah.
or for some other purpose, not for like consume in and of itself is not for a purpose. Consume is for consume.
Yeah.
I'm learning to learn, not like in and of itself. That's the goal.
Sure.
And so, like, I think that too is like, okay, you're expending energy. Fine, you can expend energy all day, but who are you expending that energy for? Are you expending it for you? Like so that people will like you better? That's not
Yeah,
play.
I'm expending the energy for myself, pretty
Yeah,
much.
that's not play.
So
Play
what
is
is that?
expending,
What would you
yeah,
say that is? Is that still
play is
consuming?
dumping energy into the tribe,
Okay.
dumping energy into the void that's in the tribe. And that's what play is. Like a pure play is that.
But the thing is, like, I don't see any ISTPs doing that, even ones with save your play. So I
Right.
feel like it's hard to see that, right? Because being a decider and being a DI, you're not gonna do that. So how do you tell if someone's like really played or
Yeah.
not, right? Like it's
Yeah.
tough.
So like you can use the play animal, but it's then in service to like your DI. It's not in
Mhm.
service, you know?
Yeah.
So it's not, you can't say it's pure play, is what I'm saying.
Okay. Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's like your TI is dictating that you should play rather than doing it in and of
Right.
itself, I guess, right?
Yeah. And I mean, like pure play would be, hey, I'm having fun with the tribe. I'm enjoying myself. We're exchanging ideas. I'm giving them energy. They're giving me energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's like I don't even know, enjoy is not the right thing, but it's like I don't know. You're doing it for that purpose. Like it's
Mhm.
circular logic all the time. It's the same thing. It's like play is for play is for play is for play. It's not for
Yeah.
any other animal, right? And so for me, it feels like play. Like the whole reason I did the interviews and I did the play was so that I can sleep, because like I had this void in my sleep. I had this missing information that I needed to
Mhm.
go out and get.
Yeah.
And so that's the why. Like that's my TI reason why I went and
Okay.
started playing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. I remember, I think when we talked in our first, maybe it was our first interview, I think you also mentioned you're like, I'm not really sure if I'm like sleep blast or not. Yeah, it's
I
hard
mean,
to
I could
say.
be. I could not be seeing myself, but
It
like
could
that's
be.
just still something I haven't grasped with. So I like OP hasn't really added anything to me specifically, but it's added a way to think, a system, like a way to look at things, a way to
Okay.
compartmentalize and organize my information.
Yeah. Okay. Either way, whether you're sleep last, so what would be your second guess be? Blast last or play
I
last?
don't know even know. I'm not even sure animals are real and they make sense. So,
Okay. So
and,
you're
and I'm
okay.
not even sure there's like an order to your animals. Like,
Yeah, yeah. That's the interesting thing about the system, or is that like, it can be explained to you at an abstract level, but I think for you to really see how it works, you have to almost experience like the patterns and stuff yourself.
yeah,
And I think that because like I was thinking like, okay, so Dave and Shan, like they can, I mean, it's not that they don't explain things well, but you're not going to understand the system just from them explaining to you. And I was thinking, okay, how would I explain it to somebody? And I realized like I can't really, I mean, I can explain how things are defined, but I can't really transfer this to somebody else. But there is something there because there is something that's built up over time by watching people and typing people. There are patterns that have built up and understanding
yeah.
and stuff. But I have no idea how I would transfer that understanding. And I think that's what makes this thing challenging to teach
I mean,
people. You know?
as a kid, when I was first learning MBTI, my dad was all into it, and he was all my knee jerk reaction to what he was talking about MBTI is like, why those four coins? Like,
Mhm.
we could have picked any coins, and like Big Five later takes like the ocean, right? Like the five
Mhm.
coins, which are different coins, right?
Yeah.
So it's like he's like, no, those are the four coins. It's like that's cognition. It's like it has to be. Why? Like, why can't we just take people that like red versus people that don't like red? Like,
Yeah.
why is that the
It's
spectrum? Why are those
arbitrary. Yeah.
yeah? Why is it 16 types? Why isn't it 32 or 64 or whatever? Like that was me arguing with my dad back then. So it's like it just seems arbitrary. Let's pick these. So I feel like typology in general, you could pick any way to divide the population, and then you'll see patterns because you're dividing them based on those patterns.
Sure. Yeah.
So there will be patterns and there will be types, no matter how you divide people. So OP is dividing people based on some system, based on some coins, based on some way. And yes, of course, 512, they found a way to divide people in that way, where it's basically splitting the population in half every single coin sort of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, you will see those patterns, 100%.
So it kind of, I guess it boils down to like, are these categorizations meaningful, and do they actually map to something that exists? I
Right.
guess is kind of the,
Yeah.
but like, how do you even find that out? I guess other than
Well,
like brain scans or like,
I mean, it's again, it's circular logic. Obviously, they map out to something that exists because you're dividing people based on existence, based on things that exist. So there is a spectrum of people, there is a self, and there is a tribe, and let's just divide people along this arbitrary line. And then, yeah, we'll see patterns in the self people and patterns in the tribe people. And it makes sense. It will happen. It will work. But why those coins? You could have divided people any other way.
yeah. But would you agree that there's some categories that are more relevant or at least more meaningful than others?
Yeah,
Like,
for cognition. Yeah, for sure. 100%. Yeah. And then like the Jungian coins, so the way that Jung divided type it also has ancient, like I have a video from 800 years ago where they were talking about intuition versus sensing and feeling versus thinking. So I mean, this isn't something new. Like these are coins that people have been seeing for years, at least 800. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So where are you at with the system then? It feels like it, for you, it has use, and it's as something is something of substance, but I feel like there's a lot of parts that you're still trying to figure out, or parts that maybe you're not sure actually work or exist, or if you feel like voicing that on the, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm more interested in like the cognitive side under the hood, why it works, why we're like this, what's going on under the hood, how cognition is actually processing information and energy, basically. And so yeah, I have a bunch of videos on that. I'm still processing it. Every time I feel like, oh, I've cracked it, I've come to the conclusion, and it's like, yeah, but there's still more. Like my TINI knows there's still more. I still have to keep pushing. I still have to keep working on this.
Yeah, it's a wormhole, right? Like it's,
yeah.
I feel you, man. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, just the introverted versus extroverted coin, for example. So I was just thinking about this one the other day. It's like, I already have a whole thing where it's like, okay, low entropy, high entropy, or
oh yeah, I remember
subjective, subjective, objective, a whole bunch of different things. And now I'm just thinking about, okay, well, what if it's just, channel changing versus not channel changing? Like, what if that's all it is? So it's like, if I wanted to access NE, all I need to do is just channel change my NI a whole bunch of times and not get stuck on an NI. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's exactly what NE is doing. So what if that's how I access TE? Is like, okay, just start channel changing my TI more. Stop focusing down so much. And yeah, that would be extroverted too. So, I mean,
so like channel changing being the root of kind of all of the extroverted functions.
And I keep finding that, like, okay, this is the root. Like entropy is the root. Like I was so sure. And now I'm so sure channel changing is the root. And it's like, what I'm seeing is it's just like different perspectives to look at the same thing, the same root, and they're all right. It's just, what's the fundamental thing behind it all,
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah. Trying to get that sweet, delicious NI nugget at the middle.
Yeah.
Just explain everything.
I thought it was entropy. I really did. And then now I'm just like on the channel changing circuit. I'm like, yeah, this could be it too. So who knows?
Yeah. Well, it's a frustrating thing to learn with this. If you want to get like deep into it and really, I guess, understand exactly what's going on, man, it's a frustrating endeavor. You feel like you go around in circles a lot. And I wonder, I just feel like maybe it's just not something that we can really get to the core of. And maybe it is just a series of categorizations that are vaguely meaningful that we can kind of use for stuff. And there's maybe no way to find attachment to actually what's going on in the brain or what. Yeah. I don't know. But I like the system, and I think it's great, and it's helped me a whole lot. But yeah, I wish I could like have it solid though in my head. It's like, like that's the frustration of it, I think.
There's definitely a TI void there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, man, we have this might be the longest growth talk episode I've done so far. It's been an excellent conversation. Talked about all kinds of. Actually, we didn't talk about growth much. I think we just talked about whatever TI thing we were like into. But yeah, it's been great, man. Did you want to shout out anything? I guess we already shouted out your channel, but you want to have any parting words?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think so. What's more important to me is not my channel, but it's more how to learn typology. And I think that's really what I wanted to give forward. It's like, stop learning from the gurus and start learning yourself from real people. And, you know, you can be in theory land all day long, but you'll never actually see it play out in reality. Then you don't actually know it. So
Spoken like a true ISTP.
right, exactly. Yeah. So yeah. So I mean, I think that's really what the void I was trying to fill is that and so if you're not watching my channel, if you're watching some other channel doing the same thing, like this channel, for example, perfect, good on you. Like that way you're going to become an expert on type, not by learning theory.
Yeah, you gotta do something with it. Anything you learn, you gotta apply it, or else it's nothing. It's
right, or even see how it applies in reality. Because like, how many theories they had? Typology had a whole bunch of weird theories in the back, or like even what's it called? Health had the idea of like the fluids, the four fluids in the body or whatever.
four
Like
elements, the fire.
yeah, the four elements even before that, right?
Yeah,
So it's like medicine went through all of these evolutions. So it's always the theory is okay, it's progressing things, but it's also holding us back. So
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Well, it's been an excellent interview, guys. Go check out Binyamin's channel. There's all sorts.
yeah,
Of
you did a good job.
content.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. I know it
Yeah.
was great having you on, man. I mean, it's always good when we talk. I think it's always a pretty easy play going on. I think we always match up well. So, all right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you guys again. I don't know. Leave a comment if you want to talk some shit or comment on something or whatever. I would just want to see you guys comment pretty much. And if you would
That
also
outro,
like
right?
it, you don't have to like it, but if you did, I would also be like, you would hit me in the field. I'd be so happy. Okay.
You don't have to like and subscribe.
Yeah, I don't want to tell you.
Like blast last. I'm not gonna blast.
I'm gonna
until you
like just throw it out
subscribe.
there, just
Yeah.
just to put it in your mind space. And then, anyway, I'm fucking. Bye, guys. Thank you.